You don't even realize how much crap is in this toolbox. Today we are going to be talking about tools. What you need if you want to go work at a dealership, or if you want to work at an independent, or if you want to work in your garage. Your basic starter kit that you could do a wide variety, almost everything with. I just want to start out in this video saying that I've been working on cars professionally for over 25 years and working on cars in general for around a little over 30 years. This basic set, in my opinion, might be a little different than other people's basic set. This is, in my opinion, this is a starter kit. Without further ado, let's get into it. We'll go over the 10. These are the basic 10, is what we're going to call it. So starting it out, I think one of the most important is a light. If you can't see it, you can't sell it. You can't fix it if you can't see it. So I'm not trying to be biased on any brands or any particular styles or whatever. I got a Streamlight. The first time I got the Streamlight, I thought people were crazy for paying that much money for a flashlight. I used to have a little mag light, and after getting this, man, the mag light's like a candle light. It's like you're holding a cigarette lighter up or something, trying to see what you're working on. These things are worth the money. And it's one of those things that if you buy a cheap one first, then you got to buy a more expensive one or better quality later, you're not saving any money. Just a little tidbit. That's like the first tool, man. I had it in my pocket, always pulled it out, checking the car out. I use it so much that the batteries don't last, but you can see I dropped it. This thing's had a lot of miles on it. I kind of retired it because the Snap-on came out with their line of lights, which is pretty much the same deal. This is cool because it's got a magnetic base. Sit there great. You know, this one here doesn't really sit so well. It always rolls off on you. Whatever style it is that you like, you got to see what you're working on. You got to see what you're doing. And you know, you go into a lot of these places and they have, you know, overhead lights. You're like, oh yeah, it's really bright in here, but you can't see anything. Once you get underneath the hood or underneath the car, you got to have a great light. So this is my number one, is a good flashlight. Which brings me to my next item. I think is my secondly used tool is a pocket screwdriver. This thing is the most handy. You'd be surprised how much you can fix with a pocket screwdriver. It's got a magnet on it, man. You can pop interior panels up, break hoses loose. Dude, it's unreal. Always have it in the pocket screwdriver. And the tool guys will give them to you. Probably because you spend so much money with them, but you gotta have a good pocket screwdriver. My third most used tool, gotta have a pin. Like if you worked at a dealership, where your flat rate, you used to have a flag sheet, and you would punch your flag sheet like on a time clock, and then you'd have to write what your hourly rate was, how much you made on that job, what the RO was. You have to put it on the back of the RO, and you have to write what you did to the vehicle to get paid. They kind of went electronic now with tablets and computers and everything, but still, you would use a pin more. This pin makes you more money than most of your tools in your toolbox. Just making notes, looking at information on like an all data or something. You gotta write down, oh, it's torque spec. At least you have an amazing memory. What is that? 90 degrees plus 45, and then you gotta back it up and then torque it to 35. You know, it's just, you got a pin. So my fourth item is gonna be power tools. They're kind of progressing from the air power tools to electric. Probably the most important is a good 1/2 inch impact. Even if you had it in electric, I don't have an electric one because I find it too big and bulky. I still use the air, but you don't want it heavy. Plus the electric one is really heavy. And you better switch off hands, man. If you're doing tire rotations and stuff all day long, but you gotta take the tires off, you know, check brakes and stuff. A good impact, I like the composite ones. Even if you're starting out, if you're like on a lube rack, you still need to take off dust covers to access oil filters and stuff. A good 3/8 air or electric. But you see all these take the same battery. If the battery goes dead on you, you can just swap it out really quick and keep working. So if you're trying to use this impact and the battery dies, you can just swap it out with your ratchet that you're not using. Keep on trucking. The electrics are good if you got to do a lot of stuff outside of the shop, like out in the parking lot or something. If you got a little utility cart, tool cart, and then the little cordless 1/4 inch drive is really nice. I don't have it in air. It's a little too powerful. I mean, you could turn it down, but these are really nice for a lot of the new cars have screws that hold the airbox together and engine covers and stuff. You could use the air ratchet, but this is a lot quicker. And same thing. I mean, if you got a cheaper air ratchet, it's not gonna have enough power to do a lot of things that it should do, and it's not gonna last. And it's always better to have more power because you can always adjust it. They have, you can turn them down. I always max it out. Everything's super tight. The fifth item is gonna be your tools, your whole enchilada. So I got this here. Let me set this up here. So this is oh my gosh. Oh, this table can make it. I think it's gonna make it. So it's a long story on this toolbox. It's ugly and worn out for a reason. It used to be my uncle's. But I pretty much take this thing everywhere with me. Man, I had done so much with this toolbox. The basic do-it-all setup right here. It has a little of everything. So we'll start out here. We got a 1/4 inch drive. So half of this is metric and half is American. And then I got a couple 1/4 inch ratchets, a little longer one, a short one. Got a couple different lengths and our 1/4 inch extension. So you obviously make them longer, different varieties. It depends on what the set is. Like Craftsman offers, or they used to, offers a lot of sets. They're really heavy on the sockets, not so much the ratchets. There is a very big difference in ratchets. I swear, a Craftsman ratchet, I could break those things like 1 a minute. Those things, they don't hold up. But it all depends on what you're doing. This is pretty much put together just over the years of just doing it and just pretty much what is most needed in a versatile setup, for the most part, do everything I need. So this isn't really a set, but it's similar to what a set would be. So next we got metric set, a 3/8 drive. This is a 6-point, just because 12 points tend to round the head a little bit more. If you're out, say in the field or whatever, alongside the road, away from more tools, you don't want to have the risk of rounding. So in 3/8, I did a 6-point. So I got 2 3/8 ratchets. This is a longer one. And then we have the standard length 3/8. These are the impact extensions. They're only in here because they're hand-me-downs from my other toolbox. This one here shouldn't really be in there, but this is the basic 3/8 drive, a couple varieties of extensions, and then we move up to 1/2 inch. So I got the standard length 1/2 inch. In my opinion, this one's worthless, the length of it, because everything you do in 1/2 inch drive is super tight. To do it by hand with the standard length 1/2 inch, it just seems like it's never enough leverage. And then I got a little breaker bar in here. I'm surprised this thing hasn't broke yet, because it has a miserable life, let me tell you. I got 3 different extensions in 1/2 inch drive, so you got a lot of variety. And on top of that, I got a couple reducers. So we got a 3/8 to 1/4, 3/8 to 1/2, so we can step it up. So we can use a lot of this configuration in a different, if we need more length, smaller, got a big socket, we need to use a shorter or a smaller extension. I got a 1/4 inch, so it goes from 1/4 inch, steps it up to 3/8, and then I got a 1/2 inch to 3/8. So you can, go like this. You can step it all the way down to 1/4. You can step it back up. You go all the way down to 1/4. I mean, you got a lot of options. And then we have just a really small American set. So this is just 3/8 to 13/16. These are also 6 points. And then we have a couple spark plug sockets. We got the 5/8 and then the 13/16. So we can do our spark plugs. And then we have a set of 3/8 deeps, but in this one we went with 12 points. And then still a couple miscellaneous. We got a metric 15, which is really common on GM. We got a 15 wobbly here, 3/8 drive. This one's so dirty I can't tell what it is. I think it's 10 millimeter. Then we got 17. It's really common on Toyotas. 17 wobbly, and all these are impact in a 6-point. 13's really big on GMs. 18 millimeter. Also another one big on GMs. And then we do have a couple wobblies that we could use, our extension or our deeps, different options. That's what makes it versatile, is that you could use it, deep in a wobbly. And then this is the non-impact style. And then we have this guy, which is kind of more for engines, but it's a 12-point 3/8. This is a rod bolt, some items specific. And then I have a 5.5 socket, because Fords love their 5.5s, and it's not on a standard set because it goes from 5 to 6 on a normal 1/4 inch. Not very common to get the 5.5. And then I got this socket here, is a 13/16 in a deep, and that's actually because of my Camaro, the lug nuts that were on there. This is the socket I needed to get the rear wheels off. Then I have a set of tamper Torx that has a hole in it. A lot of mass airflows and stuff use this, but you could use it obviously non-tamper, so you could use it both ways. You have to be careful with these though, because they do break easy. Being a tamper Torx, a lot of tow trucks won't sell you the tamper Torx unless you buy the non-tamper Torx. And then we have a couple of extractors for rounded headed bolts. I put these in here because of a couple of jobs that I had. The heads got rounded and I needed these, and I was out in the field. So that's why they're in there. They really shouldn't be in there, but I didn't take it back out yet. We got a couple mirrors to go with our flashlights so we can check brakes and look at different items, leaks. Pretty important to have a mirror. If you're working in a shop, a lot of times the mirrors are nice because you could check the brakes and get in there and look with your flashlight without taking the wheels off. So, quicker, something breaks alongside the road. If you got your light in your mirror, you can see where the oil leaks coming from, the back of the engine. It all goes hand in hand. It's like a big puzzle going on here. And then we got a couple different tapes. We got some Teflon tape and electrical tape, just in case. And I'm not gonna take out the 1/2 inch drive, but you can see we got a set of 1/2 inch drive in here. And they're kind of different variety, I guess you could say, because this used to be my uncle's. And when I got it, half of these were like Chinese, and I broke them. So they got trashed, and then a replacement socket, either a Craftsman or Snap-on, took their place. So that's the top tray. I hope I didn't lose you so far. I hope you're still with me. Told you can be blown away how much crap is in this toolbox. You don't even realize how much crap is in this toolbox. There's a lot of different options out there for sockets and tools in general, screwdrivers, pry bars. It all depends on how much you're gonna use it. What are you doing? You know, you're just a hobbyist. You plan on you buying this once and you want it to last in your whole career. You're gonna be a mechanic, you're gonna be a master. Moving up, you want that same screwdriver pry bar to last you. So that all depends on the quality. There is a difference in the quality. Obviously, I like Snap-on. These ones are the newer ratchets, they're finer tooth, but my toolbox that I worked out of forever, my first deal, I still have the same ratchets since 96 or whatever. It's like one of the first things that I bought. It's the same ratchets, and I think only one of them, pretty much warranted forever. I think I only had one of them rebuilt. I think it was a longer 3/8 just because of the abuse that it goes through. But the finer tooth are actually stronger because there's more teeth grabbing to handle the leverage. Moving on here on the bottom, little deal, we got a couple pry bars. I guess I only have two in here. I thought I had more hammers. Got a couple different varieties of hammers. I do automotive.
Really? Yes, read.
And I think it's really funny and everybody goofs on them when you have a claw hammer in the automotive. If you're gonna work on cars at a dealership or something, don't get a claw hammer. And then we have just a couple variety of screwdrivers. We have one scraper for your gaskets. I don't know what happened on my regular flat-headed screwdrivers here, but I'm a little lopsided. Got too many Phillips. I think because I got these for a pry bar. I just have the basic guy. I thought I had another one in here. But then I got this little guy. This is an old school, I don't know, my uncle had this in there, but a little Phillips flathead deal. So we got a couple screwdrivers. We got a set of picks for all the clips and everything. And then we gotta have some pliers. I can't believe how much crap is in this toolbox. So then you got your assortment of pliers. And you can see, just off pliers here, the variety here of assortment. This is a Snap-on. This is a Nipix. This is a Blue Point. This is a Matco. It's Matco. Craftsman. And like China. And then these are vice grips. So it can be a variety. It depends on what you're doing. Like this year, I think I used this like 3 or 4 times. Hardly ever use this thing. But these two, on the other hand, good pliers. Man, those are worth their weight in gold. Especially these Nipix, the style that adjusts and it locks. Very nice pliers. And then pretty much we got some Allen wrenches, metric and American. And then we have another breaker bar in here because the other one is gonna die any minute. And then we just have wrenches. We have a metric set, an American set. And it just so happens that the wrenches are Matcos. Pretty much all American are the professional grade Craftsman. These go up pretty big. The metric I have up to 24 millimeter. Then American goes 1/4 inch to 1.8" or something. So we have our wrenches. Then I got a grenade pin in case you do a timing belt or something on the move. So I don't know if that's a basic kit or a big kit. You can pretty much do anything you wanted to do with this. If you're looking to be a lube guy, I would recommend a couple oil filter wrenches. This one is for Toyotas. These universal guys for the small filters and the big filters, they expand. I think if you had this and you went pretty much, you could start out anywhere working on automotive, you would have enough to get the job done. Which brings me to my 6th item. Is what to store it in. So obviously I store it in this toolbox. As you can see, it is not an efficient way to store it because there is so much stuff in here in such a small box that you dig and dig and dig. So it depends on where you're working. A lot of dealerships will supply a built-in toolbox that you don't have to have a storage toolbox. You just bring your tools in a cardboard box and you put them in there. A lot of independent shops, or if you work at home, you need to have somewhere to store them in. It's one of those things that you got to decide how long you're gonna be doing it. If you want it to grow, how you want it to last. Do you want to get a toolbox and add more to it later? Or if you want to do a cart, or if you want to just have a little box like this and just deal with digging through it. All right, so 7 is your PPE, your personal protective equipment. So I don't have everything here to show you, but I would say gloves. At times, these can be a real pain in the butt to wear, especially when it's hot because your hands turn into soup. But if you're doing like a wheel bearing pack, or if you're doing oil changes or something all day long, you don't want all that stuff on your hand. I mean, if you're doing interiors and stuff, it's different, unless you got a nasty customer's filthy kid interior. Some safety glasses, some ear protection. You go with your safety glasses. Even if it's not that loud, you can always put these on to drown out the guy next to you if he won't shut up.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And then don't forget a good pair of boots. You can do tennis shoes, but it's steel toed. Something to protect your feet. Something that's comfortable because you're gonna be on your feet an awful lot. 8, 9, and 10, the last three are a little more, you've been doing it for a while, or a little more knowledgeable. So the next one I would say would be some torque wrenches. Unless you really know your impact well, that you can impact the wheels on and be comfortable with getting them to the right spec. I'm not a fan of torque sticks. I don't think they're very accurate, and I think they're a waste of time because a lot of times they don't have the right torque spec on it that you need for the vehicle. It would just be easier to turn your impact down and then snug them down, lower the car, and torque them. This one here is a 1/4 inch drive. You wouldn't need this one first. This would be one you need down the road. So we got 1/4 inch and then 3/8 and a 1/2 inch. The 3/8 and a 1/2 is the more important ones until you get comfortable with how stuff feels and tightening it down. Doing basic stuff like spark plugs or valve covers or anything simple, intakes, stuff on the top. You want to torque it down with 3/8. And then the 1/2 inch would probably be your first one you're good to get. This is definitely one of those items that you don't want to get a cheap one because you want it to be accurate and you want it to last. And this is a measuring device. It's for accuracy, so you gotta be careful not to drop them. So this is a little more of an advanced stuff. I mean, the 1/2 inch you kind of need if you're doing tire rotations and stuff. Like I said, unless you really know your impact, but a lot of places want you to torque them. Now for number 9. So I think a couple files. So we got a rat's tail and a flat guy. Just cleaning up anything that happens to get dropped, bumped, nicked. You can take any burrs off, any aluminum, intake or something off the corner, or anything that's sharp, you don't want to be cutting your fingers. And then all of these bolts and stuff that you're dealing with, you're gonna have a problem with something's gonna come out and it's gonna gall the threads, or you accidentally put it in, it's gonna cross thread it. So you want something that's gonna clean the threads up. So we have a tap and die set. There's a couple different configurations you can get these in. These are separate because one is metric and then one is American. And then these are kind of nice. You can get these if they're together, but if you even get to be more advanced, you can get a drill index set, drill bits, and then you can drill a hole and you can tap it and you can create your own location to mount something or fix something or do something.
That's really something.
You can get this all in one, a bigger set. I just happened to buy these individually. I think I got the metric set first, or this one I got the metric set first. And then I added the American later. When I started out, I worked on Japanese cars. Now I just work on everything. So I would say my number 10 item would be a meter. If you don't have a good meter and you're trying to diagnose an electrical problem or find anything or wire something, and you're getting the wrong readings, it's gonna make your life miserable. Especially if you're trying to diagnose a car and you're doing a test and it says it's supposed to be this resistance and the reading's wrong, but its reading's wrong because your meter's wrong, not that the car's wrong, it's gonna really mess you up. So so I would save up and get a quality meter. I think a test light is better to use as a beginner. A lot of people are going to the power probes and stuff now. You really have to be careful with the power probe because you can apply voltage to things that sometimes don't need voltage. Like if you're trying to back probe a PCM and you accidentally apply voltage to something that's not supposed to have voltage, well, you just killed that PCM. Okay. Instead of having the ground lead on the negative, you could put it on the positive and then you can check for grounds with it also, so you can go both ways. All in all, this is my 10 basic or starter kit. If you've been working on cars for a while and you're looking to get more stuff or different variety, you want to see, difference of opinion. The price of all this can vary on quality and what exactly are you working on. If you're just doing Asian cars, or German, something that's metric only, you can eliminate almost half of this because you don't have the SAE, you don't have the American sockets in there. I got this Camaro here, but it's got a modern engine in it. So now I gotta have both now, because now I have metric up here on the engine to work on that, but then everything else is American. So if you go to like a performance shop or an independent shop where more stuff come in, then that's where you might need a little more variety of tools. Tell me what you think. Let me know if you want to see anything else, and make sure you go down and like, share, subscribe. Come on back for the next ones.